You don't wake up in the morning and say, I'm about to go watch 1997 Sam Neill's Event Horizon.
Sam Neill's Event Horizon.
But I'm here with Haley and Mike, and by popular demand, somewhere out in cyberspace, we're going to talk about it.
I have such good friends because I just made them watch a guilty pleasure of mine. I feel bad about this.
Milo, please tell the audience the blurb you gave me before we started watching this. I had just woken up from a nap and I'm like, what are you guys doing? And you're like, oh, we're going to watch Event Horizon. And I'm like, Milo, give me a blurb.
Okay, so it's basically someone taking Alien and having it have a baby with Hellraiser, sprinkle some Solaris on it.
And so, Sam Neill jokes.
Yeah, there's an experimental spaceship called the Event Horizon, which has like a warp drive thing that 7 years before the movie starts had its first test run. It disappeared and without any contact, never returned. 7 years, it pops up again
in Neptune.
And a rescue team is sent after it with the designer of the ship, played by Sam Neill. What our protagonists learn is that the warp drive goes to hell. Yeah, and there's something in the ship that came back with it.
That's not a figure of speech. You're like, oh, the ship broke? No.
No, like it literally went to hell and came back and wants to drag more people to hell with it.
And I feel really bad because I think, yes, no, full stop. This is a bad movie.
It's not a good movie.
But there's some part of me that's still rooting for it.
It's so, oh my god, it's so many levels of meta entertaining that I get fucking lost. This is a great watch.
You told me, John, I want to watch this possibly bad horror sci-fi movie. Okay, what's it called? Event Horizon. All right, let me do my research. 85 critic score, I don't know. 27 Rotten Tomatoes. That's my guy.
There we go.
Because on the one hand, it is, I think it is a very interesting potential, but the structure of the movie it's the laziest horror movie writing. We had a counter of how many jump scares.
After about the first 5 minutes, when I was at 3 or 4, I said, let me restart the count. I'll bet I can come up with 9 more. I think we got pretty damn close.
I think we got close.
Yeah, and then we started losing count because there was some that was a fake out, and then there was some that was actually a scare. But yeah, the progression of the scares is so predictable. The movie won't scare you like with terror or horror. It will give you some gore horror.
Yeah.
Because there's some practical effects of the gore that are pretty disgusting.
Yeah, and there was really only one scene that was unwatchable for the gore, but you told me that like there used to be more in the original runs of this movie.
Yes, there is there's like 10 or 15 minutes of this really gory shit that you only see in like strobe light cuts.
Go out and buy the director's cut of Event Horizon.
And then the studio cut it out because it would have had to have been an NC-17 rating and the movie would have tanked in theaters. Apparently there's some really small movement of fans of this movie that want a Blu-ray with the director's cut of this. I don't believe it exists yet. Or I don't even know if you can get access to the footage or if you really want to. It's pretty gross fucking shit. But if that's their thing and that's how you get your space spikes up,
So, and to help describe the nature of this thing that lives in the ship, it constantly gives them hallucinations. Like the main guy, Captain Miller, who's he played by, John?
I don't know. Lawrence Fishburne?
Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne. He has this big secret that, like, on a previous mission he went on, he had to abandon his friend to death, in the ship while he got off. And so the ship, like, brings this, like, burning image of his friend, and the nurse character sees her kid, and Sam Neill constantly sees his wife
who committed suicide.
So,
it reads your mind and figures out what's your greatest fear, which, again, is kind of like, it's playing off of a much better movie of Solaris, in which has this like sentient godlike ocean planet.
I was gonna say
Yes.
it.
And in this thing, we don't know if it's technically alive or not, but it just, that's how it communicates. It directly reads your brain and goes, oh, well, I guess this is how I communicate with you. I just shove your memories in your face. So that's a fascinating movie, and also a fascinating novel. This is just, I'm gonna throw fucking terror images at your
Spooky, scary,
spooky,
scary.
spooky.
It's a spooky movie. Epileptics might want to sit this one out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Milo gave me the blurb of this. Oh, it's Alien meet Hellraiser, and like for 80% of the movie, it's just Alien. And then I see Sam Neill get his eyes torn out and then covered in scratch on. I'm like, there's Hellraiser.
Yeah. Okay.
I feel really bad about this, but while you're formulating your thought, when you said the ship is alive, I kept thinking of that episode of Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Space Caduce, where the Moonanites tricked the Plutonians into going into a meat-eating ship.
Oh, yeah.
And it clicked for me 2 minutes ago in the podcast, where the last line of that thing is the Moonanites going, well, we have to be gone. AMC is playing Event Horizon with Lawrence Fishburne, and I have never seen it.
So I will say that, what clicked for me during, I think, like 3/4 of the way in, is that, again, the first 3/4 of this movie, well, it's this really lazy horror writing, and then something happens. I think it clicks for me when all of a sudden there's they finally get access to a full clip of the previous crew, and they see this demonic infernal hell orgy going on.
Yeah, and people are ripping each other apart.
And then without a beat, Lawrence Fishburne's character just goes, "We're leaving."
We're getting off the ship.
And then the movie kind of decides to have a different turn and starts to have more fun with itself.
Yeah, it stops taking itself so seriously.
It's like the production assistant who gets the dailies from that day, looks at it, and he's like, "Oh, we're making a bad movie, aren't we?" All right, I'm bringing beer next tomorrow.
Just it just starts to be lets loose, and you have these great lines like Lawrence Fishburne's just going, "Fuck this ship."
It's funny because it's preceded by a lot of, I'm going to make sure and manually arm the explosives so that it's sufficiently vaporized before we depart. Fuck this ship.
Or when the bad guys end up blowing up the crew's home ship, the Lewis and Clark. There are people on board on top of it repairing it, and this guy, I think his name is Cooper,
yes,
who's like on the wings or something. He gets blasted off into outer space on a chunk of spacecraft just swirling around and going, "What the fuck? Why is this gotta happen to me?"
So one of the main issues I do have with this movie is that it doesn't know what to do with a good chunk of its cast.
I'm starting to believe that when a movie doesn't have this sounds douchey to say artistic merit, but it's Event Horizon. When it's worried that it won't catch people based on the writing, let's add more characters. Let's cast our net wide, and maybe somebody will come and watch this guy go in the airlock. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Julie Richardson, who is one of my favorite actresses, isn't in the entire second act of the movie.
Just kidding.
And Cooper is pitching the guy that Milo was talking about.
Space.
He's outside repairing the ship for like 60% of the movie.
So,
yet those two, these people who we barely see, are the ones who live at the end.
You're right. The survivors of the movie, they're
barely in it.
We frequently had moments where we went, "Did they die?"
Yeah, okay, we must have missed something. Like they must have died somewhere. No, they come back.
They just kind of pop up. And I believe that, again, this movie is trying to do something that Alien did well, where it like meticulously paints all of the characters and puts a lot of personality and all these tiny little details with wonderful little things like you'll start to get the sense of somebody by looking at what's on their desk.
Yeah.
Or
in their room.
Yeah, it's wonderful that way. This is just kind of like oh, you're the spunky guy that has all the one-liners and the quips. Oh, okay.
Yep, and you're the little kid that everybody wants to protect, and you can tell that because they call him Baby Bear, except they only do that once.
Yeah, we only ever get
is that established to be a thing that they say to each other?
We got no character description of this guy at all, and then when he's in the airlock and he's about to die, he just keeps calling what was it, Big Mama?
Mama Bear.
Mama Bear.
Mama Bear and Baby Bear.
It's like, oh, I guess he's the little runt of the group. Okay.
And there's a couple of people on the ship who have been on several missions together, and they have this great camaraderie, but you're told that. You're not shown it.
Yeah, it's I would have liked again, I think that this movie has interesting potential, but if it was less trying to be a really derivative horror movie,
or not being Alien and just being this crazy ass weird hell ship,
don't
that would be better.
Don't be the RoboCop remake. Be RoboCop.
That's true.
Yeah.
In an effort to play up the quirky 90s of the cast, fucking Cooper, right out of hypersleep, offers Jolie Richardson some coffee and says, "You want something strong and black inside you?" I will respectfully disagree, Cooper. That's the end of that scene.
Or I guess you get some kind of character portrait when Draco's dad just goes up behind somebody with a scalpel and just goes, "You will calm down. You will calm down."
Which, like, we haven't been given anything that he is the hair trigger of he's not the crazy Warhawk
until the scalpel comes out.
That was given to a different character. The guy who had the dog tags and the cross, who dies in Lewis and Clark. And all of a sudden, like, for that one moment, Lucius Malfoy decides that he's going to be the crazy badass, and then never again.
Okay, I wanted to ask you guys this because I feel like I'm doing a risk about this. What do you guys think about the visuals and the set? I think I like it because it's interesting.
If you're looking for stellar effects, this is not your movie.
No, the CGI is crappy.
Okay, not the CGI. The practical effects are not horrible.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I was baffled. Like, one time, as they're going back in, like 60% of the movie, I'm like, there's a shit ton of spinny open doors. There's no hinges in the ship.
And there's spikes everywhere.
There's this weird...
And nobody ever gets impaled.
You're right, there's no...
Yeah, there's spikes all over this ship, and nobody ever gets impaled on one.
What the I don't know why they didn't do that. Again, the derivative of Alien or Aliens, when the creatures take over a ship, their biological mucus and fungus starts to take over the ship. And that makes sense why it looks biological and it has all kind of pointy bits and stuff. But no, the Event Horizon was just built with all these fucking spikes everywhere.
Yeah.
But while saying yes, it's fucking stupid, and you can say magnetic field schmeals all you want, it's weird. I remember what it looks like. And it makes me go, oh, that's interesting. And there are certain scenes where, like, when Sam Neill is crawling through that corridor of green computer chips.
Yeah.
I mean, it's weird, but again, I find that visually interesting.
That was one of the pros, because I remember buying a DVD copy of Pandorum, which came out in 2009, and I'm getting there. And I liked it the first time, and then all of the reviews were like, "Oh, it's just another drab sci-fi spooky drippy mess." I'm like, is that a genre that's been done to death? And now I know.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. For me, kudos to the set designers. I think you did a good job. It's weird as fuck.
And I was gonna, if we can move into final thoughts, the way Milo described the set, I think is a great description for the rest of the movie. It doesn't look good, but it's interesting, and it holds your attention. It keeps your attention, and you understand what's going on usually. And some of the acting performances is great. Some of it isn't.
Like, there are moments where, particularly Sam Neill is like astonishingly bad.
Yeah.
Because we've all seen him in great roles, but there are moments when like there's a jump scare and he screams and we all went, how is that not a meme?
Yeah.
Where he just goes, ah.
But if you like dumb culty horror movies, this is a great ride. So definitely, if you haven't seen it in a while, definitely go check it out again.
Give it a read.